Okay, what you're going to learn in this tutorial is you're going to learn how to have your jet fighter craft change into a robot, like you see there. You're going to learn how to have your robot move around after it just changed from a jet fighter craft. And then you're going to learn how to have your robot turn back into a jet fighter craft, and then have your particle system continue to work as it was on your jet fighter craft before it turned into a robot. Hi, this is Ali Arango for gamevisualz as well as littleguy.cgi.com. Today I would like to show you how to have this jet fighter craft turn into a robot in Gdevelop 5. So let's get started. Okay, what you see in front of you is the result of another tutorial. I'll put a link up where you can get to that tutorial. To follow through this video, you're going to need the sprites of the jet fighter craft turning into the robot, as well as turning back from the robot. To do that, what you're going to do is you are going to go to littleguy.cgi.com. You're going to click on Game Visuals. You're going to scroll down, click on Game Assets. Scroll down, and then where you see Vehicles and Mechs, you can click here. You'll be provided these sprites free of charge to you. Okay, once you have those sprites downloaded, you're going to click on your player. So you'll double click here. You'll scroll down, click the plus button to the right, the plus button to the left. You're going to go to wherever your sprites are downloaded at on your computer. The first one I'm going to bring in is this idle robot frame. I'm going to left click here. I'm going to click open. So above where this frame is at, I'm going to click here. I'm going to name this R idle. Short for robot idle. I'm going to scroll down. I'm going to click the plus to the right, the plus to the left. I'm going to go to where my sprites are stored at. I'm going to click to go to there. And I have this named T1. So with this folder open, I'm going to hold Control, press A to select all of those frames. I'm going to click open. And then above where these frames are at, I'm going to name this Transform. I'm going to scroll down, click the plus button to the right, the plus button to the left. I'm going to go to where these are stored at on the computer. It's named T2. I'm going to hold Control, press A, then click Open. And then now I'm going to name these RT, short for Reverse Transform. The speed for these animations is right here. This is fine. I'm going to then click Apply. Okay, now that we have the sprites in, what we need to do is look to where we see player here. See these three dots right here? We want to left click right on those three dots. Then we want to look to where we see this edit object variables. We're going to left click here. And then we see this objects variables menu pop up. We're going to click the plus button to the right. We see this variable here. We're going to change this to be called transform. And then we're going to leave everything else as you see it. We're then going to click apply. Okay, what a variable is it is a holder of information. We're going to be using it to hold numbers. So because we left it as default, it's currently equal to 0. And then what we can do is use the numbers that it's equal to control things that happen in Gdevelop. Okay, here in Gdevelop, with all of this that you see right here, this is basically where we work with art as far as actually programming, we want to go to our events. We're going to left click here. What you see here are conditions as well as actions set up from the other tutorial that I mentioned to you before. Okay, in Gdevelop, the way things work is on this side, these are conditions. Conditions basically says when something happens, cause something to happen. These are actions on this side, and what actions basically do is they say what to do. So this says when to do, and this says basically what to do. And through using those two things, we're able to program different things in Gdevelop. Okay, the current conditions as well as actions here. I'm going to click the preview button so you can see what's going on. These allow the space fighter craft to fly around. They also have this be an infinite scrolling background, the space that you see there. There's also a particle system set up that follows along with our space fighter craft. Also, things are set up so that the space fighter craft animates as we push up as well as down. Okay, so what we want to do is have things set up so that when our variable equals 0, these controls are connected to that variable. To do that, what we want to do is we want to click here. So this is the condition, this is the action. When I say click here, what I'm talking about is when I click here, see that blue outline? The outline's going around the condition as well as the action. Because we have that set there, what we can do now is click this plus button here that says add a new empty event. We click that, and then underneath where we have clicked, now we have a new condition as well as a new action. Okay, what we want to do now is we want to click on add condition. See these variables here? We don't want this one. We want to click common conditions for all objects. Now there's another variables here. We want to left click on this one. And then we want this object's variable. We're going to left click here. The variable that we want to work with is the transform variable that was put on the player. So we're going to left click there. We're going to left click on variable. We're going to select transform. For the sign of the test, we're going to left click here and set this to equals to. And then for this setting, what we want to do is put a 0 here. Then we want to click OK. Okay, with that done, we want these controls to happen only when our variable is equal to 0. So what we can do is, the way things work in Gdevelop, see how these are all lined up? We want these to be dependent on this. The way we can do that is this up key is pressed, down key is pressed, right key is pressed, left key is pressed, up key is released, down key is released. We can kind of indent this so that they're dependent on that. So what we're going to do is left click and drag and see how that line now comes down like this and over. And that's what we want to do for all of these. So I'm just left clicking and dragging, just like you see here. Excellent. Okay, we're also going to drag this over. So all of these are dependent on this variable being equal to 0. Okay, as we work with this variable, things will be easier if we can see what is going on with that variable as we work. So what we want to do is left click back on new scene. We want to go to this plus button to the right. We're going to left click there. And then we have these, we're in our add new object menu. We want to left click on text. And I'm going to change the name to text. I'm going to change the size to 50. And then I'm going to click apply. Okay, so with this text made, we're going to left click on the text first, then left click and drag the text over. We'll put the text up here so we can see the text. So I'm going to click this preview so we can see that text is right there. Okay, what we're going to use this text for is that text is going to show us what our variable is doing. Okay, to set up this text so we can see what the variable is doing, we're going to click on New Scene Events. Now we want to click on this event. An event is when is the condition as well as the action together. We're going to left click, so we have this blue outline around here. Then we're going to go to the upper right and click Add a New Empty Event. So we'll left click there. Now we can see here's the new event here. We're going to left click here, so this is highlighted.